6 Common Text Structures in Middle School, a Close Reading and Text-Dependent Analysis Curriculum. Copyright Luke Sullivan, 2020. This series examines 6 common nonfiction text structures: description, sequence, chronological, compare and contrast, cause and effect, problem and solution. Text structure is the term used to describe the way the information is organized in a passage. Think of it as a flowchart. The text structure we're working with today is a compare and contrast passage. The purpose of using a compare and contrast text structure is to point out differences or similarities. Often the author will draw distinctions between elements in a similar category. Today's text is What is an Eclipse? By NASA. Yeah, that's right, the space people, with a lexile of 890. Today's prompt. The passage, What is an Eclipse, describes different kinds of eclipses. Write an essay analyzing how the topic is developed. Use evidence from the text to support your response. The prompt states topic as one of the 2 elements that need to be examined for interrelationships. I know that often the topic is in the title, so I'll start with eclipses as the topic for one element. I know the other element is the compare and contrast text structure. The writer examines the interrelationships between these 2 elements and then draws a conclusion. It looks like this. The reading technique we'll use is called close reading. This technique stresses determining a purpose before reading. You see what you look for. It also stresses writing notes and descriptors in the text. Studies show that these writings better enable students to identify and discuss text elements. The purpose for the first read is to get the gist of the passage. What's the topic and what are the big ideas? At the end of each paragraph, write a word or phrase to summarize the information. After you have finished the passage, you'll copy the phrases as sentences in your journal. This can serve as a summary of the passage. Here are some text-dependent questions that only require this surface read. Both summary and comprehension questions are a good way to demonstrate understanding of the what was said. The purpose for the second read is to examine the author's craft. How is the passage written? The reader identifies the elements of the compare and contrast text structure while reading and writes them in the left margin of the text. You can organize compare and contrast passages in one of 2 ways. You can organize them by the subjects themselves, discussing one, and then a discussion of the other. Or you could organize it according to individual points, discussing each subject in relation to each point. So how often it occurs, then how many different kinds, and then safe to look at or not. How is the information presented in this passage? What are the other informational text features you noticed? Create a Venn diagram of the 2 kinds of eclipses. The third read is where you decide what text you'll use to support the points you want to make in your essay. You'll be completing a graphic organizer to gather your information. One way is to start with questions that address the interrelationships between the 2 elements from the prompt. What is the central idea of the passage? Why did the author present the central idea of the text with a compare and contrast text structure? What effect does the all lunar, then all solar have on the passage? Why did the author write this text? Hunt through the text, finding examples that answer their questions. Write the author's words in the first column. In the second column, write how the author organized this information to promote meaning. The last column is where you'll explain why the author chose this information to advance the passage. Complete your graphic organizer with the points you'd like to make in your essay. The last step of the work is to use the information from your graphic organizer to write an essay sharing your thoughts. The first sentence of your essay should identify the text elements you'll examine in your essay and serves as a simple assertion. Older writers might include one of the conclusions the reader has made. The information from each row of the graphic organizer is used to complete a big idea paragraph. The writer organizes the big idea paragraph beginning with the quotation or paraphrase, developing with the text structure inference, and then explaining how it serves the author's purpose. Use the information from your graphic organizer to write 3 big idea paragraphs. The last section of the essay is the conclusion. A younger writer will repeat the information from the opening paragraph. An older writer will also echo the opening, but she will try to introduce a something to think about when the essay is done. The student now reads her completed essay twice. The first read uses a lens focused on the interrelationships between the 2 elements. Can her big idea paragraphs fit in here? The second read uses the lens of grammar and writing conventions. Good job!